Also, if conferences are taking place that relate to regulatory pensions, those also don't always come through the member training group because they're paid for by the regulatory committee. So the general rule, and I think it's clear that I say this, is that when things are coded to the member training budget, there's an expectation in that case that the member training group considers that request. So there will be other events that happen across the council that don't kind of come through this process. If a request comes to the member training steering group, it happens in a number of stages. The first thing that happens is that the elected member will complete a training pro forma, and they will then send that into my team, the organisation development team, where if there is a member training steering group occurring in the next couple of days, we would hold it and take it to the group for face-to-face discussion. As is often the case, we've just missed one or there's going to be quite a break. So we had agreement from the member training group that in that case we would send it by email around to all members of the group who would then consider it and reply. The individual members of the training group, my understanding is they don't actually make a decision. They're not kind of approving that attendance. They are considering the event, whether it's an appropriate learning and development activity, and then they make a recommendation to the portfolio holder. So my understanding is that the members of that group are quite clear that that isn't the case. They're not making a decision, they're making a recommendation about whether it's appropriate as a learning and development activity. So once we've had a reply back from those members, a decision form is completed and emailed to, in this case, Councillor Jones as the portfolio holder. Councillor Phil Davis as the leader and Mark Delatt are copied in at that stage so that they're aware that something's in train. The portfolio holder approves the request or not, although in the 3.5 years I've been here, there's never been an approval not given. Surgitor is also involved in the process. He will then countersign the decision form. It then gets emailed to Mark or colleagues in community services who then processes that ready for calling. And that's how it works.
Can you tell me when you knew about the, you became aware of the members who wanted to attend the LGA conference?
Okay, on the 29th of May, my colleague Diane Costello, who processes member training administration, informed me that an invoice had arrived for attendance for Councillor Phil Davis, George Davis, Anne McLachlan, Jeff Green and Tom Harvey to attend the LGA conference.
So the process in this case hadn't been followed. It's the first thing you saw was an invoice. When did you receive, got some questions I've written down here. When did you receive the completed forms from each councillor?
I didn't.
So did you receive one form handmade?
No.
So what did you do with the invoice?
Okay. The invoice is still where it is when it landed. It's in the folder that sits on my desk for invoices to be processed. So it's still there. It hasn't been processed.
Sorry, can we just get something clear here? If it hasn't been processed, then it hasn't been paid, has it?
Nobody has been paid.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Based on the previous line of questioning, Councillor Jones referring to money that has been paid, we haven't paid the invoice because as an officer of the council, I wouldn't pay an invoice until the approval was absolutely certain, and that's what tonight's about. I think it's a technical issue that actually, because this calling is taking place so close to the event, any cancellation means that the full fees have to be paid. So to make it clear, we haven't paid anything, but technically and contractually, cancelling attendance at this stage involves the
But they haven't been paid.
So have you ever seen this pro forma where it's got five, it's not signed, it's got 5 councillors' names on, and it says houses clearly identified by the LGA? Have you seen that?
Yes.
So when did you get that then? You just said that you
Yeah.
Oh, right. So the councillors didn't fill a form out. You filled one form with 5 names on. That isn't following your own processes, is it?
On this occasion, I, as a senior officer, took a pragmatic decision. A booking had been made. I was really conscious of the timeline, and Councillor Harney referred to it before. The member training group often kind of get requests that come in really close to the legal process, calling at the time that we need. So I was aware that a booking had been made. I was aware that at that stage the process hadn't been gone through, and it was an expedient decision. Didn't want to duplicate 5 forms that would all say the same thing on them. I was well aware of what the LGA conference was. I looked at the names on there, the group leaders, deputies, and thought, I'm going to whiz this round, pragmatic, let's get this on the move, with the view that actually it's quite easy once a decision has been made to contact back to those councils and say, could you just let us know what you think you're going to get out of this so we can capture it going forward. So it was just a very pragmatic, practical decision to get the process back on track.
Who made the booking there?
I understand it was the Chief Executive's office.
Right, so the Chief Executive made the booking without following procedures.
I don't know that it was the Chief Executive, I just understand it was the office.
Thanks, Chairman. Just a very quick one. Referring to what Vanessa has just said, you said the invoice has not been paid, although this was the first indication that 7 individuals had incurred costs. Although it's not paid, is the council contractually and legally committed to making this payment? In other words, can't get out of it from a legal perspective. We are contractually and legally committed to making this payment, although it's not actually been paid at we stand this moment. There's been some confusion this evening over whether the invoice has been paid. I'm just trying to clarify that position so there's no ambiguity.
It's standard practice when you book a conference or any learning event that you have kind of time limits on the run up to the event. Within so many weeks of cancelling, you would lose your fees within so many hours for some events. And on this occasion, yes, we're within that time scale, so we are contractually obliged to pay those for those courses if we cancel.
Let's go.
Thank you, President. I'm conscious of the time.
So I'm getting a little confused. The question, really the question is very interesting about the timing to do with forms and whether or not it was possible to save the money. But that is a debate that has to be had. But that isn't the debate, I don't think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The debate we're having now is the call-in on the decision to send 7 members to, and we really should focus on that. Because if we get into, it's an interesting debate, and it's one that is, you know, the Ernie said, it's one that needs
that's what this call-out recording is all about, and that's what the caller should have put down and said. So you're very honest, because if that's the case, to hide, to ingratiate or make the figures sound bigger for the press or for other people to use as they were, that's okay. But if it's about withdrawal from the LGA, then they should have the honesty to say so.
The caller clearly states that this is about cost. Tom, how much has it cost the council to send the group to the conference for the last 3 years?
Looking for the last 3 years, it was around about £3,000 last year from the members who went. It was just over that the year before, 3,000 a year before that, so it's roughly about £3,000 a year.
What about the other costs?
All the cost being
Is it a sort of travel accommodation? Is that include travel or is that just the cost of stay? And how much does it cost us per year to be a member of the LGA?
well, the fee was 2012-13 was £54 to be a member of the LGA.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions? One of my concerns I have is that, tell me whether I'm right in thinking, leaving aside members' training, total training costs by the council have reduced, or have they not reduced in the last 2 or 3 years? I just see, I mean, and maybe if you don't answer it, you think it's an unfair question, but I just, one of my slight concerns is that members seem to be going and spending money, whereas our staff are being asked to not go on courses, and we've reduced the amount of money we spend on training. They've had their travel expenses pretty severely curtailed. I mean, is that a fair comment to make? I think it is. It comes to the heart of the question to do with value for money and whether we're seeking value for money in some areas and perhaps not in others, and which is really where it was getting at. But anyway,
The question around training expense, I think that's outside the information I've got up to me in terms of what we spent on training in the past few years. But I think it's to be fair, we're looking at this one, it's the cost of the LGA conference, which perhaps in previous years not considered members training for the attendance of the conference. There's perhaps a difference there between training expenses and attendance of the conference.
Can I just clarify one point about where the money is actually coming from on this occasion? Is that the money for the training for the councillors is coming from the members' training budget? What's the money from the officers? What's the money is that coming out of? Is that a separate budget?
In previous years, the cost of the conference has come from the member expenses budget as opposed to members training. I think this year it's been more focused on members training. Previous years it's come from members expenses budget.
How about the officers?
That's the officers themselves.
any more questions?
Chief Executive. Thank you, Matthew. Again, I'd like to ask members to keep questions coming to the points of the
Greg, can I ask a question? I want to sort of run this alongside with, value for money is often subjective, so I'll ask you for a subjective answer. But given where we are on our journey of hopefully, sustainable improvement, do you think it would be value for money and send out the right message from this authority to not attend en bloc to the LGA, or do you think it would send a positive value for money message to the LGA who have been supported about
wise and pound foolish not to go to the LGA. I think the cost of £3,000 approximately, this council gets great value out of attending this conference event. I'd also say that many of the mistakes and problems the council has had in the past have been the result perhaps of not participating in events like that and getting the learning from other councils and other national bodies. I think there are 6 reasons why this council still should attend the LGA conference, absolutely essential reasons. First one is learning from other councils and learning from national organisations. And that's referred to specifically by both of our all-party peer review exercises we went through, and also by our own improvement board, the part of the improvement plan to this council should be out and about more and learn from other councils. So I think if we went to the LGA, we'd be actually rejecting the advice of the peer review and rejecting the advice of our own all-party improvement board. Second reason is the opportunity to challenge. Members have already said the opportunity to speak to ministers, speak to senior civil servants, speak to LGA colleagues and challenge them about their policies and their approaches, not only to the major policies, but the smaller things that can be very important. So the chance to challenge will be missed. And I think if you could say maybe we should go to London and meet ministers on a one-to-one basis, that's what costs of doing that, of course. 2 or 3 people going down by train to London, that often outweigh the cost of people going to the LGA conference itself. The fourth reason is the influence this council has. One of the things we'll be tested on at the LGA this year is the way we can try and influence the manifestos of all 3 political parties. And we've launched at the LGA a 10-point plan about how local authorities can gain greater influence and greater ability to upset their systems. And that 10-point plan will be debated and presented to ministers and debated and presented to all members at the LGA and amended, refined and developed. So support to be there to influence. It's also a centre for other meetings. Lots of other meetings happen on the fringe of the LGA. There are over 90 individual meetings in the programme. And therefore sending several people to the LGA, even if they all attended each one of the meetings, attending 4 or 5 meetings a day. Normally those meetings often happen at the same time. If 3 or 4 meetings happen at the same time, so you need to split resources to attend each of those meetings. Right personally, I've got 6 other meetings which at the LGA, in addition to the programme. Many of those meetings starting at 8 o'clock in the morning or starting at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. I know that Councillor Davis has also been invited to some of the meetings, a sample of some of those meetings. One meeting with local council to talk about the lessons they learned in the improvement journey and how they changed their services. One with the Deputy Executive for Manchester Council to talk about AGNA and the way a combined authority works. One about all the authorities in the North of England to talk about £600 million project in terms of changing the way we govern the rail system in the North of England, which Phil Davis will go to as well. One with the representative of Public Health England about how we can influence the outcomes of health of our communities. And a further meeting on transforming system leadership, which is sponsored by the DCLG and senior civil service, and we also do a pilot for that. And those meetings take place at 8 o'clock and 6:30 in the evenings, hence the need to be there beyond the normal working day. And final 6th reason is the profiles that I get from the LGA and the messages that sent out who didn't go to the LGA. And the profile is, so we can argue, to be a pilot for many government initiatives. For example, we're putting a bid in for a pilot in service innovation for our shared services with Cheshire West. That could bring £150,000 to £200,000 into Borough. We're also putting in for a community budget pilot, about £50,000 to £60,000 for this borough. The integrated leadership pilot will bring about £40,000 to this borough. So just in those meetings alone, we're talking about over £250,000 opportunities that's already in train in our bids and other opportunities that will come about. So that's why I think we're very penny wise and pound foolish not to attend the LGA.
Just a couple of questions. You suggested that rural events that you mentioned, are they part of the conference that require payment if they have been attended without the £3,500 cost?
Well, what I think you don't do is if you've been criticised for being too insular and not participating in the wider local world, this withdrawal from a major event in the year. That's the first thing. So therefore, I think, yes, we have come to the LGA in the past, and yes, we've learned certain things from the LGA. Like, I know, for example, last year there was a great deal of detailed discussion between the leadership of all three customer parties and the leadership of the LGA about the way the council through the journey should be shaped. And that took place around the fringe of the LGA conference. So that was very useful to this council. But so what we don't do is say we're going to do less things because of a relatively small amount of money compared to the overall scale of the opportunities that arise to the council. The second issue is the fringe meetings. Most of the fringe meetings take place in rooms that are in the conference hall or adjacent to the conference hall. Therefore, you can't actually get into the venue to have the meetings unless you pay the subscription fees. Therefore, most of the meetings are referred to. The 90 meetings I referred to are on the official programme, and we couldn't go to them without being in the hall. The other 6 or 7 meetings I've mentioned as examples will take place in rooms in the conference venue. Again, you can't get access to without being there. Also, if you're actually at the conference, you have to be travelling back and forward each day. So the cost in terms of opportunity costs, in terms of the cost of my time, Phil Davis's time, the elder leader's time, the officer's time, putting more in outlay the cost of attending the actual conference. Thank you.
Are you aware of the procedures that members should follow when they wish to attend a conference?
Well, I am aware of procedure, but I am also aware that that was the basis of this call tonight.
No, it isn't.
I think we would be more in this will does obviously the procedures and we need to know that. So I don't think there's anything we can by
Right, well, my next question is then, why did you ignore the process and do it legitimately rather than throw them myself?
Well, first of all, there were 3 points on this call. Therefore, I came prepared for those 3 points. That point of the process wasn't on the call, therefore I haven't investigated that element. However, what I would say is I'm more concerned about the substance of this council moving forward than actually whether procedures are being followed to the exact letter or not. This council voted in its annual budget to go to the LGA, put money in the budget to attend the LGA conference. Therefore, I have mandated the executive to organise the attendance at that conference. As Tom Salt said earlier, in previous years, this hasn't been funded by the training programme at all. It's been done by the normal conference arrangements. Unusually this year, went to the training arrangements. Probably shouldn't do, but it did do. I asked my PA to organise the events, and which is quite right, she did that, and did it in line with council policy. Therefore, I think I'm happy to look into the detail why a form wasn't filled in or the ministry detail wasn't followed. What I'm more interested in is the future of this council and its improving journey.
So I've just got one more question, and it's actually not to do with costs, but it is an issue that Graham brought up, so I would like to ask a question on that. He did bring it up in his first point. Okay. You mentioned that you go to the LGA conference and you can learn from other councils and you can learn from other areas. What do you think you could learn from Liverpool by withdrawing from the LGA?
I know you're pleased to know that Liverpool actually are attending the LGA conference. They are. Also pleased to know that Liverpool and the 6 councils are reconsidering their position of withdrawing from the LGA and are detailed discussions with the LGA about continued membership. What they indicated was they wish to withdraw from the LGA, which of course isn't the subject of this call, but they are going to the conference this year. And I hope that they go to the conference every year going forward, because I know those core cities are detailed discussions with the General Secretary of the LGA last week, 20 Wednesday of last week, they reassured me those discussions were ongoing, and hopefully the core cities will be made in the LGA.
Thank you very much for answering that. I wasn't aware that you were this far. Mentioned the number of meetings that you were going to attend in quite a bit of detail, ones that you accepted, and I presume there are ones that you declined as well. Can I ask what hospitality you accepted and what hospitality you declined?
I've asked this question before, and I gave replies to the question, because at this stage I don't know what the full programme is in terms of what I'll attend or what I don't attend. I will give a full account of hospitality I accepted. It will be, I assure you, and there actually are two at the moment. One is a meeting with the municipal journal to discuss the issues of the way we develop shared services across the east. That's at a lunchtime, which I understand there's food available in a wider discussion which will be reported to the municipal journal. The other one is with PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is again a meeting with one of the council to discuss shared services and we to deliver those shared services. There may be other things I accept, which I'll find out when I get there, but I will give a full account of what I accepted and didn't accept at the end of the conference, along with a report of the conference, which my colleagues will produce to show the value of attending the LGA conference. Thank you.
I'm not trying to say that's not a big question brief.
I make it very brief, really, and it's a hypothetical question, so you may not want to be able to answer it. But again, just coming back to the value for money aspect of it, you clearly, given the practically stated absolutely the benefits of attending the conference. If, because the LGA I know are, their financial local authorities, if for some reason they double the cost, would you still think it represented value for money?
All I can say is I think it sounds that LGA conference is essential for this council.
I'd like to call Councillor Phil Davis, who's with us for District Commander, Councillor Davis Jones. And he's outlined the benefits of attending the LGA conference and by the membership of the LGA. Any questions for Councillor Davis?
I just want to sort of rehearse the arguments about value for money. The position the council finds itself in, or on the journey it's in. And I would just reflect on the second to last paragraph of Calvin Downs, Chief Executive, who couldn't attend.
Hang on, we're talking to you, sir.
We ignore that. Oh, we ignore that. Okay, well, we believe this value for money serves Will's purpose well by having a full and active attendance at the LGA.
Well, Graham said there were 6 reasons why we should attend the LGA conference. I've got 3, so that's already a saving on what she takes. I think for me, there are three key things really. One is, and I think what I've done is carefully gone through the actual programme of the conference, because I wanted to be clear what, in front of the committee, what I think the benefits to will be. I think for me, there are about at least 15, 16 sessions which have got direct relevance to Will's improvement agenda and the improvement plan that we've been working on for the last 18 months. So, for example, just to pick a few out, the conference programme is on the LGA website, so it's freely available. There are lessons, there's a session on lessons learned from sharing services between councils. As you know, that's a key agenda for us at the moment. We're in discussion with a number of councils on the opportunities there. Commissioning, I think was raised earlier on. A number of councils are doing a lot of really interesting work around commissioning services, which is generating significant savings. The whole area of cooperative councils, a number of councils now branding themselves as cooperative councils. There's a session on that. Staff-led mutuals is another new model of service delivery which a number of councils are embracing, and that's another session. I think Graham mentioned whole place community budgets. There's a session on a review of the 4 pilots that have taken place on that whole area, and we've just applied to be in the new round of pilots. There's a session on the new local government associations model for local governments, which I think will be helpful to us. There's an interesting one about support from local government peers, and obviously in the improvement board we've had that. And then there's one on local authority bonds, an innovative way for local government to raise additional revenue and finance. So that's just a selection. I could go on about how. So the other one that I think attracted my attention, neighbourhood community budgets. As we know, we're moving to constituency committees. There's a number of authorities that have already done this, and there's a session on good practice around neighbourhood working. As well as the improvement agenda issues, there's a range of other sessions of the conference around things like Lord Heseltine's report on the growth agenda. Lord Heseltine been presenting that. There's a number of policy areas